Good evening, everyone. Muito obrigado. My name is Alessio Filippelli. I'm a PR media strategist, and I also work in marketing. One of the many things that I do, I'm also a model, international model. I had the honor of walking for some of the biggest shows internationally, for some of the biggest magazines internationally. But today, I want to look at all of these things from a different perspective. I want to look at all of these things from a deeper way. I want to tell you something that might sound counterintuitive. When I was 15, I never woke up feeling or thinking if I was famous, if I was popular, what was I going to do? That was never the goal. That was never the intention. The goal was to be able to see someone that looked like me, someone that believed in me, someone that I didn't have when I was growing up, someone that could create a safe place for myself, for my voice, that made me feel, even if nobody was paying attention yet, that was worth to be heard. I was born in Italy. I grew up watching people like me being left out so many times, from so many pages. So when some doors opened for me, when some opportunities started to arrive, I decided to take them. Not for myself, not for my ego, not to be famous, but so that I could hold those doors open for other people like me. I began with almost nothing. I started my journey in a hair salon. I was doing hair. I had no connections, no network, no people that I knew in this industry. I didn't have a mirror in the industry to see people like me reflected, with the same dreams, with the same ambitions, or that look like me. But then some things started to change. I started to get some opportunities. Some doors started to open for myself. And I took all of those opportunities. But even then, numbers and metrics were never the ultimate goal. That was never the ambition. That was not the final destination. So tonight, I want to talk about rethinking success. Because we live in what I call a post-digital era. We live in a world where digital is not novelty. It's baseline. It's ambient. It's everywhere. So success can be about more followers. It can be about the flashiest highlight reel. What if success is wider, is deeper, but more lasting? What if success is creating something meaningful that connects with many other people, with real people outside of numbers? When I was starting, there were many moments that I saw people like me left out, not invited, not seen, not heard. Moments that I wondered if there was space for myself, for someone like me. And then I realized that I had to create that space for myself. I had to do it myself. Not by pretending to be someone else, not by trying to chase what looks successful to other people, but by being authentic to who I was and showing up the way that I wanted to show up as myself. Because I wanted to build something that outlives social media, that outlived a trend, that was going to last longer than that. One of those moments was when I was offered international stages for the first time. I asked to myself if I wanted to do it or not. And I did. I took that opportunity. Because I thought if I take this opportunity even once, then maybe someone out there, someone in Brazil, someone in Sao Paulo, someone in Rio, might think if he can do it, I can do it as well. And maybe that is the real change. Representation. That is success for me. Let me share with you something I believe deeply. In a post-digital era, success has to grow from what we are already, not what we pretend to be, or not what we should become. I remember a project I did for independent artists with my music label, represent musicians, artists, would often feel invisible, without resources, without a voice. Giving them a platform, being able to distribute their music and make them feel seen and heard, that felt more than any streaming or any followers. I want to talk to you now. ¿Quién está aquí pensando que suceso es cuando fue grande? Yo le digo, suceso ya está aquí. Success is in the small act of courage. Success is in the authenticity. Success is in lifting someone as you climb. Of course, there are tensions. Of course, there are days that you wonder if you're doing the right thing, if it's worth, if someone is going to pay attention to it. That you will try to compare yourself to other numbers, like if they're judges. But those are challenges. That is the moment that you have to stay true to yourself instead of compromising yourself. Here is what I learned. When you stay true, when you choose projects that align with yourself, that align with your values, with who you are, that is the moment that you're going to create something that won't break when platform change. Something that people will remember because it felt real to them. I don't think success is a finish line. I think it's a practice. I think it's a daily practice. Every day, especially in a social media world, you have to remind yourself who you are. What are your values? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? And then you have to answer to yourself. We live in a moment where the digital has oversaturated our lives. We now need the post-digital, not as a rejection, but as a reclamation of our space, our inner worth, and who we are. In rethinking success, we allow ourselves to build with the algorithm, not for it. We don't become products. We are in charge. I believe the greatest impact we can leave is not in the applause, it's not in the metrics, but in the souls that breathe, create, because our work whispered to them, you can belong. Tonight, I invite you. Brazil holds a special significance in this conversation. You're a nation of rhythm, of community, of collective soul. The way Brazilians celebrate art, music, identity, you don't just broadcast, you live it. The legacy of samba, Afro-Brazilian aesthetics, these are traditions where value lives not in the performance, but in the roots. So when I say sucesso post-digital, I'm not disconnected from history. I see it. I see you. I see Brazil as a reminder of heart, identity, healing, and liberation. This is your daily rhythm. To you, Brazil, sucesso não é ser visto, mas ser sentido. Success is not to be seen, but to be felt deeply. Look around. Think about someone that you follow on social media or someone in this room who doesn't have a platform, who doesn't have a voice. Think about the person and think about giving a chance to that person, making them feel seen, giving them a platform to speak. Imagine the change that could give to that person. Remember who you were before the expectation, before you start to compare yourself to numbers or other people on social media, before the need to perform. Because that version of yourself is the authentic one, and that lives inside of you. That will give you clarity, and clarity will give you every action you take. And finally, when you wake up tomorrow, or whenever you create next, ask yourself, does this project, this post, this thing that I'm doing right now, is this drawing me closer to the truth inside of me or further? I believe deeply that when many of us choose to lead with that question, the meaning of success changes, not just for us, but for entire generations. Because success stops being about being seen. It becomes about being felt. Not just by the crowd, but by yourself. And by those who never saw someone like you before. Obrigado, Brazil. Thank you so much.